That's just fun to say. Real bully of jerks.
This week, 4 new films for Valentine's Day.
Including Death on the Nile. Gal Gadot stars in a high-stakes thriller where Kenneth Branagh falls in love with his mustache.
Also, Marry Me, where Jennifer Lopez is part of a public breakup again, and everyone acts like it's news, and she'll rebound with anybody, like even Owen Wilson.
Then, I Want You Back. Charlie Day and Jenny Slate bond over their unexpected love of the Jackson 5.
And Blacklight.
Yes,
Blacklight!
Oh, great one.
What you probably shouldn't use to examine the bedsheets in your hookup hotel.
Hey-oh!
Ho! Blacklight!
Is that love in the air?
Nope, it's just Monday movie nonsense.
Well, Johnny Knoxville exploded.
We blew him up. We finally did it. We did what mankind could not. Welcome to Movie Nonsense, everyone. It's happening every Monday, 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific, whether we're ready or not, or whether you care or not. Now, if you've seen our videos, our very addictive personalities put on display, then, and watched us in the Movie Trivia Schmodown, then you know we're all about the nonsense. And every week, we're going to bring some brand new movie nonsense here. We'll talk trailers, we'll talk what we saw, and it's usually entertaining. We're trying to bring some bits as well and some entertaining content. So, depending upon whatever we see. But of course, we'd love even more people to be watching here. We've got a great dedicated group here that always shows up, which is really nice, and I thank them. Like, subscribe, repost, do all that stuff. Hit the alarm bell so you go, oh, I've got something to do. However, Movie Nonsense is on, so let me just put what I had to do away, paying my bills or doing my job, and let me just focus my eyeballs on this very entertaining content. And of course, go to themovieguys.net. We've got articles, reviews, and whenever we do appearances and stuff, we put the clips on there as well. Sometimes we're just a little, like, let's say Into the Gucciverse decided to do a 5-hour show. We're just a small part of that. So you might find that clip. Let's say you don't, I know, sounds weird. Say you don't want to watch 5 hours of Into the Gucciverse. It happens. You just go to themovieguys.net and you can just watch the part that we did eating up time until Gucci and Kaiser arrived, as we do. I mean, we're very good at that, actually.
You got to fill till the hosts arrive at their own show.
So anyway, and of course, go to @themovieguys on Twitter. Search anywhere on the Movie Guys on the internet anywhere, and you'll find us.
What the fuck is the internet?
There it is. A little slow on that. We don't have an engineer. We do it ourselves. Somehow we're able to pull it off.
Yeah, I listen to Howard Stern, and he always does a show routinely called Cleaning Out the Computer, because they have bits, interviews, man on the scene, audio, all sorts of stuff that they don't get to. And this is kind of like that for us today. There's a whole lot of stuff we haven't gotten to, and we're going to get to talking about it today. News, trailers, reviews. We have guests, and then time ticks away. And what are you going to do? I don't feel bad.
Paul, there's too much to get to.
Sorry, not sorry. Right?
Paul, there's too much to get to. We're in February, where like no movies come out traditionally, and we've got a packed show full of movies that we saw. Yeah,
so let's talk about what's coming out this week. Death on the Nile is finally coming out after a number of delays because of COVID. We're going to see if 20th Century Studios can get back on track. As like I said, they had a great slate of movies at the holidays that nobody saw. The Kingsman, West Side Story.
Didn't get to see that myself, and I'm obsessed with seeing that, and I haven't seen it. Didn't get to see it.
My voice is shot today. Good time to do a podcast. Kingsman, West Side Story, and Nightmare Alley. Now, for everybody, this is news. Nightmare Alley is on Hulu already. So, wasted no time. Didn't go to any, it's a pay thing, but didn't go to on demand even first. It went from theaters to you got it. If you have Hulu, you can watch it, and I highly recommend that you do. Then go back and watch our interview with Mark Povinelli, who was in that film as the Major. But mainly, check out that movie. The poster's behind Adam there, over his left shoulder. It's great, and it's highly underrated, and it's actually getting a little awards buzz for Bradley Cooper's performance. I think people are making a push because it's otherwise ignored. So maybe the Oscars will remember. We'll find out tomorrow.
I mean, Bibiani said on Twitter, had a really good take on that, of the economics of day and date versus keep it in the theaters. You got to go see it in the theaters. And it's like, he just made the point that this movie, Nightmare Alley, basically got lost because they didn't do day and date. Because, like, I guess you're basically hedging your bets on, is this the sort of thing that people want to go to the theater in a group environment, risk, catching the COVID, for the experience of not having Spider-Man No Way Home spoiled for them, or the experience we had with Jackass to see it and feel the audience, and this one, they went like, nope, gotta go to the theater to see it, and everyone was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm probably not gonna do that.
Oh, wise words, Alan.
Yes. Oh yeah, how great was to see Mark Povinelli in that movie? It was just so cool.
And that is a good take. As much as I'm not a fan of the day and date thing,
I know, but
there's actually news today. Roadside attractions, Village Roadshow. Damn it, one of those.
There's
I'll look it up
two different. That's two different people.
I know. Yeah. One of them is suing Warner Brothers for their, for them going ahead and putting everything out on. It's Village Roadshow.
Yeah,
putting everything out on HBO Max, and it basically killed The Matrix's box office. They could have had Spider-Man money, but they didn't, because that is not a Nightmare Alley. That is a group action adventure experience. And
True.
It tanked. So, and they're blaming Warner Brothers for making a blanket statement before January 2021.
Yeah.
That their whole slate's going on to streaming. And I disagreed with that at the time, and now it's biting them in the ass, and I'm not sad about it.
Well, I wonder who made that decision, because it's it was clearly a decision that nobody had done all the legal research on where this puts us legally. You know, I think they just said like, well, we're releasing these movies and we're releasing them however we want. And I don't know. I think the way they did that opens you up to getting sued a little bit. Just a little bit sued.
You're not going to be a fan of filmmakers. Christopher Nolan was pissed. Denis Villeneuve was really pissed. He's like, you watched Dune on your phone? Go to hell. So anyway, yeah, the point is Nightmare Alley out there on Hulu now, and Death on the Nile, the next big 20th Century Studios film, is coming out this weekend. Well, and I like Murder on the Orient Express well enough. You know, it was a little cheese bag, but here and there, but it's a solid murder mystery, and Death on the Nile will be the same as long as it doesn't screw with the story too much. Yeah,
I mean, obviously this one had to be delayed because with COVID, the cruise ship industry was really differentially affected. So movies about cruise ships are going to be affected a little more. You know, you got all those people there together. You know, there's going to be, it's just tough.
And how do they lure you in? My favorite way, by creeping up a pop song. This time they did it with Depeche Mode. Let's listen to it a little.
The murder was methodically planned.
Find who did this.
You are mad. Can I not trust you?
What do you want me to say?
All right, that's enough.
Never again.
The Policy of Truth is the song, and the truth is what Kenneth Branagh is after in this movie, so why not? There you go. They mix the two together. Yeah. And you'll notice when you watch the trailer, Armie Hammer is barely in it. Barely in it. So he's had the...
and there was much rejoicing.
And he's had the time since this was originally delayed to embroil himself in a scandal, I guess. I don't know. People are saying he's a jerk. I don't know anything.
Well, see, being a jerk has never kicked anybody out of Hollywood. Like, I mean, a lot of people are jerks. I'm sure America's, favorite actors are also jerks. I mean, do you think Robert Downey Jr., we all love him, right? Do you think he's easy on the set? There's no way he's easy on the set.
So he's a cannibal? That's what I heard. I mean, I don't know.
Here's the thing. I ask everyone, they go, oh, Armie Hammer. And not that I have like some huge allegiance for Armie Hammer. I do love Man from U.N.C.L.E. very, very, very much. That's like one of my favorite movies of all time. But I got to say, in the wake of, Harvey Weinstein and Bill Cosby, I mean, these really egregious, terrible acts that deserve to get these people thrown in jail and then let out of jail. I didn't even read up on that. Yeah. But when you're like, oh, Armie Hammer, oh boy, what about Armie Hammer? You have these conversations, and I guess I'm supposed to keep up with them on Twitter, like some of these conversations, but I don't know as much. When your lead is, well, he said some bad things, like you're like, okay, but he didn't actually kill and eat someone, because that's like out, go straight to jail and out in 6 months or something, probably, because but like he didn't actually eat anybody. He just said he wanted to eat someone. So I mean, I don't know. It's okay. I guess he's canceled. But boy, everyone really acts like he did kill and eat someone, and I can't get that information out of any conversation I had. But
hey, you won't get it from me. I don't know.
Yeah,
and don't make me go find out. Just let me enjoy Death on the Nile.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I say to people, I'm like, look, do you still like Tom Hanks? And they go, well, of course. And I go, well, haven't you heard? And then their eyes get wide. I'm kidding, of course. But I'm like, now you got to go find out why you don't like Tom Hanks. When a minute ago, of course you love Tom Hanks, I'm going to go do some research and find out, how I can hate things. I mean, I don't know.
You don't like a thing, let it end there.
And also, it's Armie Hammer. I mean, who loves Armie Hammer? Nobody loves Armie Hammer. It's like, he's fine. He's whatever.
Network. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's a new Liam Neeson movie called Blacklight that we mentioned in the opening as well. And I just want to bring, I want to put together a bit for next week on this, but I didn't get time because of some other big bits we have coming up. But I do love the tagline. They're going to need more men.
Okay.
He's just killing men, and they're going to need more men.
They're going to need more men.
And he's 70 or whatever the hell he is now.
I would like to talk about the Liam Neeson output for about the last 5 to 10 years, maybe post Taken 3. He just went, or Taken, really. But we can name a lot of those. And then at some point, you could just stop being able to name Liam Neeson movies. At some point, you stop, and Ben Bateman posted today the Razzies for Bruce Willis. And because I guess he put out 8 movies last year.
Yeah. I mean, who knew? That's a level of not giving a shit that's just not been reached before.
Right.
I mean, Cage started like that,
right,
and has come back to respectability.
Sure.
Willis, I don't know.
I mean, he's in Steven Seagal, like early 2000s territory. You're just like, he put out 10 movies this year? I could not name one of them,
Put in the chat if you've seen any of these. And they created their own category in the Razzies for Willis here. It's now worst performance by Bruce Willis in a 2021 movie. Your nominees are Siege, Apex, Cosmic Sin, Deadlock, Fortress, Midnight in the Switchgrass, Out of Death, and Survive the Game. I'm O for this list.
Wow, I am O for this list too, but it sounds like a really fascinating watch. I'm just so curious.
Apparently Apex is the biggest dog of the bunch.
Now, apropos of what, Smithy? Apropos of what?
We're talking about the trivia,
Right. Sorry, I went way back in the.
Actually, this was Michael Caine's House is the sequel to Jaws 4. So
that's the most accurate one.
So anyway, I think Bruce Willis is going to win that category.
Yeah.
At the Razzies, we'll find out as we go. While we're in the discussion of news, China added a new ending to Fight Club.
Yes, have you seen it?
I saw the screen grabs of how they took the. Well, don't we have a clip?
We do have a clip. I mean, check this out. You won't believe what they did.
Yourself? Yes, but it's okay. Marla, look at me. I'm really okay. Trust me. Everything's gonna be fine.
Big American party! Yay! Everybody disco dancing. Lots of fun. Good time for all. I'm having very good time. Robot dancing? Oh no! Police! Quickly in here! Who is driving? Oh my god, Bear is driving! How can that be?
I mean, it's just very different. Does anyone get that reference, what I'm referencing there?
Well, I saw Jay and Silent Bob. So.
Right, yeah. It's from Clerks, the animated series, that they had. The Korean animators had to finish that episode on their own. They didn't have the ending. So anyway, that's
hilarious. But no, they didn't want all the banks to explode, so they put text on the screen right when you cut away that said, Tyler Durden turned himself in and reported the whole operation to the authorities. The end, because China can't have disruption in their perfect world over there.
Oh wow! They won't even watch America fall in a video, huh? They're just so concerned.
I think that'd be so excited about that. Don't give anyone an ideas, is I guess what they're trying to say.
Who is driving? Oh my God, Bear is driving. How can that be?
I want to give a shout out to Ghostbusters Afterlife. We just posted a review on themovieguys.net because Ray, who does a lot of the written reviews for the site, Ray Scalacci, just saw the 4K disc and loved it. And it reminded me that where is that movie in the top 10? It just left the top 10.
You said this
just now.
That's amazing. So that's like legs for days. That's like Titanic legs, right? Like it continues to make money.
Yeah, it's creeping up on it was 11 weeks, I think, and then this finally its 12th week because we had two big new releases in Jackass and Moonfall.
Let the moon fall.
The top 10. But that's a long time for them. And I'm just thrilled it's a hit. So points to that movie. I wanted it to be a hit. I'd like to see the franchise. I think we might have made enough to maybe get another.
Yeah.
Because Jason Reitman kept the costs low. It was only about $75 million, and this is creeping towards 200. So that's double plus, that's marketing and all covered, and hopefully we get another.
And there was much rejoicing.
There was.
But also, you mentioned he reviewed the 4K disc. I got to tell you, I bought. And I forgot to bring it when I ran into you. The Scream movies. You need to complete the Scream movies, then we need to go to Scream 5.
That's right.
So I need to get those to you, and I just completely forgot to bring them. So I got Scream 1, 2, 3 on one disc, and then that had the little slip where you could get the digital downloads, and I have it at my Apple. So I watched the first 3 on Apple TV, but the fourth one didn't have a slip, so I had to actually, put it into my Blu-ray player, hook that up to the big 4K TV that we just got, because 4K TVs are affordable now, which is insane. But I got to tell you, I don't know if anybody knows this, but when you are watching streaming movies, you are watching VHS. Basically, our standards for what we'll allow have gotten so low, and yet the technology for what we can achieve has gotten so high. So people will watch YouTube on a giant 4K TV, and it's basically, but the streaming is so flawed. The amount of information that can be sent into your house. So I believe the amount of information sent from a Blu-ray player to a TV is 25 megabits per second. And I think what we're streaming has got to be a quarter of that. And they take a lot of it out in the sound. The quality of sound they send to keep the amount of information coming in and streaming, because basically streaming is impossible still, as far as science goes for me. But it's amazing. I watched Scream 1, 2, 3, and then I plugged in my Blu-ray player for Scream 4, and we should still be watching everything on Blu-ray because it's just like the sound and the pictures and everything, and the blacks, and there's no crunching, and there's no. But streaming is VHS. It really is. Anyway.
If you want to jump on there and read some of Ray's reviews, he's only reviewing 4K and Blu-ray discs. He doesn't review.
Yeah.
Well, he's reviewed a few streaming titles, but he's got something called the Pick of the Week, and it is his pick that week on Blu-ray or disc. And he's got a library. It's massive, full of this kind of stuff that got behind me. And and he'll always reserve the last couple paragraphs for did they give us bonuses, and
sure.
then. And he's always yelling at Universal because they hardly ever give out decent bonuses, in the extras disc. But he says that the color, and sure enough, I'm watching some of the award season stuff here at home because I missed King Richard in the theater. Now I got to watch it here, and I know I'm going to see a bunch of noise in the black color on the screen. Anytime there's a huge shadow that walks across the screen, it's going to be this noisy pixelation. And he says not on the 4K, man. The color differentials between lights and darks are sharp and the bright. And he always talks about the Dolby Atmos. That's part of the discs as well. When they have it, he says it's dynamite. They take even old movies, and when they remaster them, when they come through that Dolby Atmos, it sounds beautiful.
Oh, man. Yeah.
But,
you just can't beat physical media. I mean, for us obsessives, obviously, people that never really cared, didn't go to movies that much to begin with, obviously, they can watch VHS style. It doesn't really matter. But man, I just every time I plug in the Blu-ray player and put it on the TV out there, not this little thing, but because this is usually Blu-rays, but it's not that great a quality TV. But man, yeah, it's special.
Far out.
And 2 news notes about 2 of our favorite people. The great Roger Deakins has been knighted by the Queen.
Sir Roger of Deakins.
Yeah, Oscar winner finally.
Yeah.
Roger Deakins, one of the best cinematographers that you ever did see. He's phenomenal, and you will, if you don't know him, start looking up his stuff. You'll just be blown away.
Yeah, he shot Big Lebowski.
Far out.
And he shot, of course, Blade Runner 2049 is for what he won his Oscar. So that's good news. And also, your favorite, David Lynch, has been
cast. Yes, Paul, do you have David Lynch news?
He's been cast in Spielberg's new movie.
Paul, I have been cast in Spielberg's new movie. And it is about a guy that gives the weather. It's about a weatherman.
It's it. It's called The Fabelmans. It's actually Spielberg finally writing about his youth.
Yes.
It's a story about when he was kids. And also in the news, 90-year-old John Williams will be scoring it. So that's just awesome.
That's right. I asked for my own special theme from John Williams, Paul.
And I wish you had this, but I pulled it from myself. But you would read it in David's voice, and it would be great. But Lynch recalls in his 2018 memoir, Room to Dream, when he spoke with Spielberg at a party. And he wrote, I was at this party once and Spielberg was there, and I said to him, "You're so lucky because the things you love, millions of people love, and the things I love, thousands of people love." He said, "David, we're getting to the point where just as many people will have seen Eraserhead as have seen Jaws." And Lynch said, "I don't know about that. All I know is that there are lots of films out there, and I don't know if anybody cares."
Well, that ain't the American way.
That's right.
That's awesome that he's in The Fabelmans. I mean, are they still shooting that? Did he just get cast in that? Or has that just been announced that he's in it?
That's news. I mean, I didn't know that Spielberg was shooting anything. COVID.
How many filmmakers have appeared in Spielberg's movies? Interesting conversation topic. I mean,
Well,
I can't.
Truffaut, for one.
Oh, Truffaut. Oh, yeah. Jeez. Wow. That's a huge one. Truffaut. God. Yeah.
Pollock ever show up in a Spielberg movie?
No, he showed up in so much other stuff too.
Yeah.
And Sam Raimi shows up in Spies Like Us. Joel Cohen and Sam Raimi showed up in Spies Like Us, but nothing like that in.
Yeah. Wow, that's a good. There's a good trivia question.
Yeah.
Now I'm going rifling through his filmography in my head, trying to come.
It's
up
not
with
many.
Oh,
it's not many.
That Thing You Do director Tom Hanks has appeared in.
Oh, that's right.
Spielberg movies.
That's right. The director Tom Hanks has appeared in some Spielberg movies.
And by the way, it's worth noting, going back to Ghostbusters Afterlife real quick, 64% of the Rotten Tomatoes critics liked it. 94% of the people. That's just always what it is. And I saw, for the first time, I looked through and I'm like, who are they talking about here? And so the first groups of people that they put on the home page that you can see their blurbs and then click through to their reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Little White Lies, never heard of them. Cinema Aficionados, never heard of them. SusanGranger.com, don't know. And the good reviews on that homepage were from the Chicago Reader and the UK Observer and the Guardian. Oh yeah, I've heard of both of those.
Okay.
So it's just a shame that I know you can click on top critics and then go through and just see the best critics' thoughts on these movies, but it's a shame that they get lumped in for the numbers that most people are going to look at with a bunch of chowderheads.
I mean, look, it's not. I'm not going to win the battle against criticism and the format of it, but what you just said there is 64% of the people reviewed it as soon as they were done seeing it, right away, right now, before anybody else gets a chance to review it. I gotta get it down. Okay, I got my thoughts out there. 94% of the people saw the movie, went home, took some time, thought about it, decided maybe I'll go post. Boy, I really like that movie. I think I'll go to that website. It's not my job to quick type fast.
There's another movie to see, right? Yeah.
Right. So that's just that's the reviewer game. You got to be ahead of everyone else. You got to be on top of it or whatever. But the idea of I could just never review a movie, although obviously we're going to play 2 clips of movies we reviewed immediately after. But we are catching ourselves.
Wait a minute. And we just came right out of the movie.
It's true. I didn't say I wasn't a hypocrite. I'm just saying, that some of this speed typing, it's a competition between speed typing and reviewing the movies. I don't know which one they're winning records for. The quickest typing, the quickest thoughts about a movie. I had the quickest thoughts about the movie. I left the movie halfway through so that I could review it, so that I could be first on my block to review the movie.
Well, you want to show one of these videos we're talking about?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Jackass Forever. And we got a thing.
Yeah.
I had a graphic. I don't have a graphic. There's no graphic. Okay.
Oh.
Doesn't
I
matter.
might have taken
We
some
all
of the
know
photos
movie. It was
down.
#1 at the box office, which I wondered if it would beat Moonfall, and lo and behold, it has won. I think the box office now every time they've come out since I think at least the last 3, if not the first one as well.
So wait, who won the weekend? Was it Jackass or Moonfall?
Jackass.
Ah, interesting.
All right.
By the way, I one trailer we forgot to before we play our clip of us called "To and From," our patented segment "To and From," where we talk about the movie before we go to the movie, and then we talk about it after we've left the movie. But there's one trailer we were talking about, and this combines both things here, is that we've talked about how JFK narrates a lot of trailers, but we forgot one here, which was, of course, Jackass Forever.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard.
Yeah, so anyway.
Combine two worlds there. Speaking of worlds coming together, look for a special guest in this. Our to and from for Jackass Forever. Welcome to Jackass! When is the last time you get together with your friends and laughed your ass off? I think we're living up to the tagline today.
Hello, I'm Johnny Knoxville. Welcome to Jackass.
3, 2, 1.
A lot of people ask, what will Jackass be like once we're older? Well, it'll get more mature.
It's like a warm blanket. This thing's gonna be like a warm blanket. Getting together with friends. I mean, they just advertised exactly correctly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I'm excited to hang out with these guys. And boy, these movies make me laugh. The first movie I ever saw when I moved to LA was Jackass 2. Because whenever they ask me, what year did you move to LA, I always have to say, what year did Jackass 2 come out? Because I know that's the
2004?
first 6, I believe.
6.
2006.
2-6, and then 10, and now it's 12 years after the third one.
Oh, wow. It's a real scream jump.
Well,
there.
you got your bad grandpa, and you got your
yes.
What's the action point in there to
right.
tide you over?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jeff Tremaine went off and made the Motley Crue, The Dirt.
Oh,
Motley
that's
Crue
Jeff
film.
Tremaine?
I think it's the only narrative he's ever made. So
yeah.
even he went, enough of that. Let's come back to this.
These guys are uniquely alive. I mean, they are alive, thank God.
Well, the stories Johnny told, good Lord, they came close a number of times.
As Penn Jillette once said, it's really hard to kill human beings. We're just resilient. We're here at the AMC, and now we're going to go see Jackass. I did not expect this to be one of our opening day movies.
But pre-opening day.
Oh, that's true, because it doesn't even open until
there's
Friday.
something called an Investor Connect screening tonight. Is that us because we're A-listers? I guess we're investors now.
Yeah.
So here we are at this screening.
A little upset I forgot my weed, because these movies are really good.
Oh, God, just walk around and smell. This place smells like pot from the moment I got out of the car to all the way up the top of the stairs.
A lot of people come to see Jackass in the city.
Yeah.
It is a great movie to get high for, but I'll have.
I just can't believe that those totally high people had it together enough to invest and be investors at tonight's Investor Connect screening.
Investor Connect. Paul, do you have your a week free for other investor meetings? What if just suddenly on Monday they call you? You got to go into a Zoom thing. Like, you went to the investor thing, right? You got to be in on the conference call Monday.
I want the head of the investment group, to stand up before the cinema and go, all right, we're all here for this, and he just gets pelted with just a bunch of jackasses in the audience. Get sodas thrown at him and shit.
Ben Goddard said that he would come see Jackass Forever with us, and he ditched on us. But luckily, we found someone else who
is almost as good as Ben Goddard.
Almost. Ben, I'm working on it. I'm making moves.
But also, it does say something that that a couple people that we know would come to this early, 3 days before opening. The moment we can, this is the crew. So it's a good. Now I know a little more about you, Coy. I ran into Coy in the lobby. I'm like, all right.
It does. You really do get a taste for someone by how they leave this movie. And glowing is my review.
But I have a legitimate question. So you're a stuntman.
I was, yeah, back in the day.
And these guys are
the peak.
They're jackasses.
Somehow.
But I mean, so do you want to do what? Have you ever wanted to do what they did?
Well, as a kid, sure, but then I immediately learned why not to do what they do. So when I used to do stunts,
I learned that tonight.
I mean, it's a lot. When I used to do stunts, it was the stuff that was like the opposite. It was the most controlled, and then you'd get hurt if everything went wrong.
Right.
This is leaning as far from that as possible, but this definitely inspired some choices because I grew up with this. Like my first beach house after high school, I brought the entire series, and at that point, just the first movie was out, and we watched it all the way through. Like that was my thing, because I'm a monster from Boston. So this movie is like so formative to me, and I was really worried that growing up it might be something that I would be too nostalgically inclined to be objective, and either I would feel like it wasn't who I was anymore, as some actors I feel, or it would go the other way where it would put me back in that childhood place of Glee, and that's what it did. I'm fully immersed in the happiness of my youth without the world being so shitty.
They swing for that a lot now.
And they do.
Like, Creed comes out, it's like, you guys love Rocky. Yeah. We're all like, that was great. You know,
nostalgia porn's an industry, man. Like, nostalgia porn's important, I think. I think we're living in an age where we're not getting as many new IPs, so you can either hope for the best and try to do something and it end up like that Tom Holland one with Ray, or you can have things like turn into the next franchise. Like, there's a Reacher poster behind us. Like, they tried that a couple ways, it didn't work, they're going to keep going, but you can always count on Jackass.
Yeah, but you know there is a large valley in between Vin Diesel going the movies and or Nicole Kidman. You know,
Kane feels a little better in a place like this.
But the Jackass really does feel like, oh, we're all together right now. I mean, everybody's there applauding and laughing, and big difference from, like, you know, in Spider-Man when Tobey Maguire shows up. I mean, huge applause, but this was a whole different feel that they were right.
But still, it had been 2 years since either of those feelings. Since wild, unbridled cheers like I had in Spider-Man.
Right.
And tonight, uncontrollable guffawing and laughter. It's been over 2 years.
And shrieks.
It's great.
Shrieks of like, so many. Yeah. Like, you don't get that in Spider-Man.
It's visceral. It's so visceral. It's so much more visceral than any other movie.
Oh, yeah. It really is like you're part of the experience with them. Like, when you see someone throwing up and you're so inundated with, like, the reason, you feel that little gag reflex. Like, you know, you see a dick become a paddle enough times, you're affected.
I get it.
Yeah,
I get
so, like, it got me. I was there. It worked for me. Like, I was a little worried that it wouldn't hold up 20 years later, but it's for me. And also, you don't realize until you're watching it how much you're attached to each cast member in a real character way. Like, I know which one of them has certain inclinations, and I know which of them has certain things that bother them, and you feel like you're back with your friends. Like, you feel like you're one of the boys in this crew of, like, absolute madmen, which is why the stunt thing is like, no, not that. But, like, I'd forgotten how much I missed Johnny Knoxville. Like, I'd forgotten how much I missed, like, hanging out with these guys.
Yeah. It's old friends.
Yeah.
It's just like getting together, you know, and I haven't seen you in 2 years,
right?
So, true. I mean, it's just the same
thing. We're just more clothed and less violent.
Exactly. Let's not fall down those stairs.
Yeah, they're getting paid a little differently. The scale of a movie we saw versus... But also, like, I think it's really beautiful that at their age, it is a positive that all of this still works. Like, I definitely am, like, I'm hitting that, like, age crux where the gym takes a little longer to get in shape, and, like, food lasts a little longer, and all these things, and it's really cool to see guys that aren't just children getting the fuck around with their friends. Like, friendships like that don't usually last, so there's a beautiful friendship in that movie.
Yeah. I know.
And this franchise has created friendships. Yeah, it's clear in the end credits when they talk about, I've seen this, now I am this, and this is like my dream.
NGK, like, I mean, Machine Gun Kelly's in the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything.
Yeah.
He's got a Jackass tattoo that is in the same spot as Wee Man's, and they like side by side. Like, there's moments of multi-generational camaraderie brought together by blood.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. I really, truly love this franchise.
I mean, if you like the first three, you'll like this one.
And if you don't, you won't.
And if you don't, you won't. It is not Downton Abbey.
And it's impressive how in shape and moving those guys still are. Like, it's just really... Like,
and there are Evil Knievel.
Yeah. That's a great point. They are our Evil Knievel.
I mean, there's some things they do that are transcendent, that are like, oh, God, the irony of this, or, oh, that's not how people act, or putting your father in this position, all the sort of, like, variety. There's a ton of variety to Jackass that never gets credit for.
Right.
But when it comes to just getting hit by a bull... that is Evil Knievel, which I know Johnny Knoxville grew up on. And,
it makes sense. It translates.
But he's the only... Because Evil Knievel sucked. He wrecked and hurt himself all the time, but it wasn't funny.
Yeah,
but
this is hilarious. The
So.
question is, I think for me, these people as themselves, I'd be more excited to meet than most actors.
Yeah.
Like, because there's an attachment to the people.
Yeah.
Like, these aren't roles. These are, like, I would lose my mind meeting, you know what I mean? And, like, we're in town, we work with these people all the time, but something about this.
Second and final question. Will this win Best Documentary?
I mean, it should, and if it doesn't, the Academy's too old, too white, get rid of them.
How cool was that, running into Coy at the thing there, and we were already prepared to do a reaction, and
Yeah, I mean, he was fired up and more of a fan than I, you know, but and I'm a fan, but he was pretty hardcore, so yeah, that was cool.
Oh, I wanted to bring him on about the Matrix, but that sort of kind of fell by the wayside with a few other topics or whatever, because I heard him call into some show. I can't remember if it was The Big Thing, the Chris Harloff's company show. But he called in and like just like this, shot out of a cannon, like about Matrix and the theories and and what this does is this connects to Matrix 2 and then Matrix 2 and then what that is. I mean, and it was just like Coy twice as fast as this, twice as much love for a movie as The Matrix 2. It was like, I have to get him on and maybe talk about that sometime because it's like, yeah, he's like, when he's obsessed with something, it's really good. I mean, yeah, you couldn't ask for anything better than that.
And I don't know what else to add to that. I mean, those were pretty much all my thoughts. They
No.
stayed true. I mean, I just was thrilling to just laugh like an idiot I mean, it's outrageous. The stuff they're doing, I mean, I'm almost surprised they got an R rating. It's like so much.
So there's
like,
more
crazy
penis than a
stuff.
European art film.
Yeah.
You know? It used to be if you saw penis in a movie, you're like, oh, this is a European movie, right?
Well, let's skip to the other side of the filmmaking world.
Uh-huh. Yeah, really.
We saw the number 2 movie at the box office, Moonfall. And it's the kind you don't want to miss in the theater, and we'll explain all about it in another To and From. Well, it's early in the year, but this is perhaps the biggest weekend for movies that we've had yet in 2022. Jackass Forever and tonight's film, Moonfall.
Moonfall.
Yes, from Roland Emmerich, who recently in the news said that the superhero and Star Wars movies were ruining the industry.
Oh, well, if there's one authority you want to weigh in on what's ruining movies, it's definitely Roland Emmerich.
Yeah. It's the difference between the moon destroying Earth and Thanos. Dude, come on. We're going in, and when we're done, we'll come back out and we'll share our thoughts as soon as it's over.
Yes.
Which is not really good now that I think about it. Some movies you got to sit with really, like if I did this for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I might just be sitting there going, but after a second, third viewing, I'm like, this is a goddamn masterpiece. I don't think Moonfall will be. But, well, it is Patrick Wilson. And I think that very often you are not supposed to remember his name. He's not there to be Tom Cruise. He's there because they couldn't afford Tom Cruise. But we love him. He's great. He's Night Owl. He's the Warren guy from Conjuring, whose first name always escapes me. I want to say Earl Warren, but he was behind the commission, behind the JFK investigation. But,
And The Haunting of JFK. I think that was the Warrens also. That's why you get it confused.
That's right.
This is like your classic big summer movie.
Yeah.
I mean, big.
In February.
Yeah. Big. I mean, with the releasing structure of stuff post-COVID is just weird.
Well, you know, the holidays have been pushing. Well, January is still a shit show, but they've been pushed. The summer's been pushing back to like April, and now March has been finding its 300 time zone when they can put out a movie that'll be big in the spring. And now they're just blending together. Like right after January, let's go.
Yeah,
but we're doing it how you should. IMAX.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, we're here for the whole experience. So yeah, IMAX. Let's do this. Let's set ourselves up to win. That's my opinion on movies all the time.
Exactly.
Don't go in upset. Set yourself up to win.
I don't want any movie to be bad, especially now, at my age. I don't have the time.
Yeah.
So please be good. Please be good.
Movies are such crowd pleasers. They figured it out. They figured out the math. So I think we're gonna just laugh and enjoy ourselves throughout this entire thing, and watch some stuff seriously blow up.
I don't know what to expect because you go into Midway, you know what to expect. Independence Day kind of broadcasts what to expect in its trailer.
Yeah.
Aliens blow us up and then we fight back. I don't know what's going to go. I mean, the moon's going to crash on Earth, but I mean, then it seems like there's other forces at work, and then how do we get out of that? It's all kind of a mystery.
I'm just excited for the absolutely stupid moments, but you just love them in these movies of like when the information's unfolding and there's the reactions and what's happening, what's going on, and then also the conversations I have like, well, as you know, the moon is
Yeah, I don't drink, but I'm gonna air drink for the My Gods.
My God, this better be good. My God, I hope the song's good because the name of this is part Moonraker, part Skyfall, and I just want to sing it every time. Let the moon fall, let the moon fall. From is the segment of the show where we come from the movie and we give you our immediate reaction as to what we thought about Moonfall.
Yes, it is now the next day.
It is. That was a late screening of Moonfall.
Yeah.
But as I found out, you can't fall asleep during Moonfall because my body dared to fall asleep at one point, and the second it happened, the loudest thing in the movie and a sudden bright white light. And it was like, bam! It was like, Jesus Christ.
It was IMAX. The sound, the chairs were shaking.
Yeah.
It was an experience.
It's literally like, it was almost like going...
Listen, do you think they come to Roland Emmerich with like the House of Gucci script and he tells them to fuck off? Or do they not even... like?
I always feel like it's well acted, but it easily could be The Room at points.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
But that's his style. And he's consistent with that. He's remarkably consistent, Roland Emmerich.
I will tell you that there are some really cool sci-fi moments, visuals, sound effects.
Marcus!
The score was great. It was a mix of like a classic adventure score with sort of a new wave synth,
right?
Combined with like computer digital sounds, whenever they needed.
Which was kind of Pink Floyd-y underneath the entire thing. It was kind of it was kind of a prog rock movie. Those are all prog rock album covers.
Exactly.
I mean, there are about like 60 or 70 spacescapes in this that you're just like, oh my god! But they're all like total prog rock album covers, which was awesome. I mean, it was like, it was the whole experience.
Yeah, any one of those visuals of the moon could be an Asia album cover.
Yeah, absolutely.
It kind of reminded me of Air Force One, where I loved what was happening in the air.
Yeah.
Didn't care really what was going on the ground.
Why does Roland Emmerich always overpack his casts by about 3 people that then just wander around while other stuff, and then just cut to people wandering around? I feel like I've seen that a lot.
Well, he gave a lot of energy to their nothing dialogue, which was a shame. Like, there's the kids crawling across the landscape, and a meteor just barrels into a mountain and goes like in this insane.
Because there's something every
effect.
30 seconds in the movie. Yeah.
And they go, "We got to keep moving." I'm like, a moment to like behold the incredible destruction of the earth happening in front of you. No time.
Right.
We both laughed when Halle Berry got a call from on the phone. It said, "NASA."
That's classic
NASA
thriller.
call.
Yeah, NASA calling.
Yeah.
Paul's like, and then later the phone rings, government. Yeah, but that's classic. That's classic. Yeah. It's like the kids, like their
He's
kids.
got shit to do. We got to get past. There's no time for that. But just have it say NASA. Action. Like he's got bigger fish to fry.
Yeah, he really does.
Yeah.
And so he rushes through everything that way. But that's his style, I guess. It's like classic 50s sci-fi almost. It's like highly well done. Like George Lucas was doing the old serials in Star Wars. He's doing the 50s kind of like Attack of the 50-Foot Tarantula or whatever. Like, wouldn't it be cool if it like insects, like grasshoppers? Let's do that. Okay, we'll write a whole script to get to that point.
If he took the time, though, as an adult and not a kid on a playground, to examine and thoroughly explain and explore and present the really hard relationships that would come out of the situation that was going on in there.
Oh, yeah.
The movie would still be going. And we can't have that. And there's something grounding about Patrick Wilson here. We goofed on him before, but we love Patrick
we goofed on him out of love.
Yeah.
American treasure, this guy.
American sweetheart.
Oh, and he's so good in this.
Yeah.
And he's playing modes I've never seen him play before.
Yeah.
I want to see him cast as Mr. Fantastic in Marvel's Fantastic Four. How cool would that be? There's a couple points in this where I'm just like, oh man, he's like Mr. And also you're going to space. There's a lot of Fantastic Four in this movie.
And the career he's given us, I would like to reward him with another huge franchise to be a part
Give
of.
him 6 Marvel movies. That's what that's when you really made it, we're going to give you 6.
All right, so listen, you know what you're getting into if you come see this, but it delivers in its own sort of, I'm seeing this within the parameters of how I'm supposed to.
Yeah. If you think for a second, like, I kind of like that sort of thrill. I mean, I wonder if that delivers. I mean, if you're even thinking of like Roland Emmerich in that regard of like, Oh yeah, Roland Emmerich. He's the guy that, whatever. It's going to give you all of that. Back to you, Paul and Adam. Moonfall.
Thanks, Paul and Adam.
Yes, appreciate your coverage out there in the street. Stay safe.
Live. We're live from having just seen a movie. So
and it should be mentioned, John Bradley is in this movie. Who is that? He played Sam in Game of Thrones. And I like when the Game of Thrones actors show up in other stuff because that show was so good. We got 2 of them in Eternals with Kit Harington and Richard Madden, Amelia Clark's all over the place. So it's fun to see them. And, of course, Momoa. So, yeah, it's great to see them. I mean, Momoa, of course, had Conan, I think, before that. So he's kind of a thing. But still, anyone who I first saw in Game of Thrones who's doing stuff again, that's great.
Yeah, I'm going to have to check that show out.
That's right. Yeah, you never have.
Hour-long TV is a real hard sell for me. If it's not superheroes, and even hour-long superhero TV shows, it's like, you guys are stretching it out. But, yeah, hour-long TV, it's always been tough. Yeah.
Just bracketing the time? Or
no, it's just that hour-long TV has a weird pace that I can't get into. They always seem to be eating up time. They always seem to be, like, sitting around a lot, you know. Well, a show has to be an hour. Hour-long TV feels like everybody's like, okay, here's the script. Yeah, but it's going to be an hour in the end, right? Oh, yeah, we'll make it an hour.
You should watch 24. They cram a lot of stuff into 24.
Yeah.
With Kiefer Sutherland.
How long is Peacemaker? Am I watching an hour long there, or is that a half hour?
Let's talk about that.
Oh, God.
That's actually the newest trend. It's like easily 40 to 50 minutes. It's almost as if it were an hour show, but there are no ads. So it really doesn't have to stretch to the hour. They run it out at about 40 to 50 minutes. Let's get a look of Peacemaker up there.
Yeah, so, that's...
Are you liking Peacemaker?
Oh, my God. It's something I feel like I've always wanted to make myself, and I'm watching it, exist. It just, like, Frank Miller used to write these one-off comic books of just like really deplorable superheroes. And I just have always loved the guy that's not politically correct and not, out of time. And also, and I've always loved I'll show you here. I've always loved the less well-known superheroes. So I've been, for example, Moon Knight, but also I'm an old school Vigilante fan. I'll go ahead and say, I have every issue of the original run of Vigilante and a lot of guest appearances after that. Not a great comic book. They do whatever they want with Vigilante. There's not much to betray in terms of his actual origin and everything like that. And so I love oddball superheroes. I love seeing superheroes live action. The rarity of seeing characters like Peacemaker or Vigilante live action is just such a thrill. And this tone and the idea of the superhero that's like, hey kids, be sure to take up smoking or whatever like superheroes aren't supposed to do. I've just always wanted to make something like that myself. And Paul, remember back in the day, I should pull a clip from this. We did it. We made a superhero short when I first met you. We made 2 of them, and one of them was the Red Scare, and one of them was Safety King, and which was the guy that comes up and gives you, and that's a, G.I. Joe, knowing's half the battle. I'll have to pull a couple clips of those because those are kind of fun, at least in the short form. They never really worked out as like a 20-minute short, but they beat the joke to death. But so this is exactly the sort of like tone and stuff that I just love. Like, remember the Red Scare would just give you this terrible advice. He'd save you, he'd give your purse, like, here's your purse, ma'am. Now, remember, never do this, and it's just totally politically incorrect things like, that has nothing to do with crime or whatever. Like, what is wrong with you? But boy, I just love seeing these superheroes, and the show is very good. The dance sequence at the opening, I mean, the heavy metal music. It's like, yeah, James Gunn, man, what a treasure.
he
gets to do whatever he wants with this show. Nobody had any opinion on Peacemaker. People have been trying to make a Superman movie, and in the last 50 years, they've made 5 Superman movies because everything with Superman has got to be, you got to go talk to the head of Warner Brothers to find out if you can have Superman walk down that street. Oh, okay. I'll run that up the line. And then Superman movies just never get made. Peacemaker, nobody's like, I don't know, do whatever you want with Peacemaker. He's not an IP that we're ever going to consider putting in any movie. And so it's just, the oddball superhero thing, the politically incorrect thing, and fighting crime. But just on the street level, and vigilante, man. It's just... and by the way, as a vigilante fan, he comes out, he's just played for laughs, whatever. And the comic book is way too serious anyway. I mean, I just like vigilante superheroes. I like the Punisher. I was that age, I was like 12, and I'm like, the gun-toting, coming out of Rambo, reading comic books after loving Rambo. I'm like, yeah, give me the gun-toting guys, whatever. But so this was not very vigilante. But that scene when he goes into the prison and tries to kill Peacemaker's dad, the just absolute insanity. Because at the end of the day, Vigilante was just an insane guy. Like he was not all there, and that whole thing of like going into the prison to kill him and gets right up there, gets right at the table, starts a riot in 5 sentences of just calling everybody around the table an asshole because he just didn't care if he got killed there. And I'm like, well, that is vigilante. Like, so man, yeah, it's good. It's good.
Yeah, the show works best when it's clever for me. Sometimes when it's just profane, it doesn't quite work. But yeah, when they upend stereotypes and of comic book and hero movies, but James Gunn has set up a situation where anybody could go at any time. Like nobody's safe,
right?
And clearly, the next to last episode, we're seeing that a lot of people we followed for a while now can be victim to any sort of bad scene.
Yeah,
it's not going to be the cleanest of shows, so that's cool.
No, and that was the great thing about Suicide Squad too. The way he did. It's not the Suicide. He did Suicide Squad, right?
He did the Suicide Squad, and I don't like it quite as much as that. Man, I thought that movie was fantastic. I saw that twice.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a good extension of it.
Yeah, great extension of it. But the idea that he was so much more in the theme of Suicide Squad that, like, yeah, none of these people may make it to the ending credits because none of this IP is anything that they are going to make another movie out of, or like, oh, don't kill Robin. We need Robin for the new Joker sequel or whatever. Yeah, that movie really rocked, and so does this. The complete stone face while doing ridiculous dance moves is like so from my improv loving heart. Like, this is such a sketch. Oh my God, so good.
And what is this music? Like, none of these songs are songs.
No, well, that's the thing. Well, no, I think some of the metal ones are. I thought
when they play like Hanoi Rocks, yeah, but
right. I thought this was an 80s metal song I didn't know about. It's not, it's a new song.
It's about nothing. All the songs are about nothing. It's like, I mean, it's just crazy. Now
and Robert Patrick.
Research and find out.
Yeah, and Robert Patrick also rounds out the cast.
Opening Peacemaker song.
Yeah, who is that?
Do you want to taste it by Wigwam?
Do you want to taste it?
It came out in 2010. Yeah. Do you really want to taste it? Give your dog a brand new bone or something. It's like, it's about nothing. All the songs they play are.
Yeah.
But yeah, who knew? I mean,
wow.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like Van Halen and stuff unless it's called for.
Yeah, Freddie Stroma. I don't know Freddie Stroma, but
yeah, I think that's the deal. Now you do.
Troma. Freddie Troma.
As Gunn, slowly changes most of DC over to Troma.
I love that DC's like, we've been trying to make a Marvel movie for 10 years now. Gunn, get in here. Make us a DC movie if you could, which he really didn't. But I love that they're just like, go get somebody who's made one of these DC movies to come over here and make us a DC movie and make us a Marvel movie.
Well, no, there's a bunch of other stuff here we could talk about. What do you want to hit on? We got Don't Look Up. Have we talked at length about that?
We have not talked about Don't Look Up, and obviously it's a little behind us at this point.
Yeah, but it's going to have life throughout the award season. So
here is my very precise and short thought on this movie. The phrase "Don't look up," just 3 words, "Don't look up," somehow encapsulates all of politics today. The fact that becomes within the mechanics of it, first of all, Adam McKay, you and I know from The Second City, Pinata Full of Bees, one of the great titles of any show. Adam McKay, kind of pretty much wrote that show. We know him as a sketch comedian. He went on to Saturday Night Live. This movie opens up with sketch after sketch after sketch after sketch. It might as well be a sketch movie until about halfway through, and then it does settle into the actual, legitimate story and everything like that. But Don't Look Up, as a politician telling you, like, once it's recognized that the world is going to end, that global warming is going to kill us, that an asteroid is coming from space, right? That the denial of what is reality, because you'll hear a lot of political nuance. I heard someone say something once in a political conversation that I was like, oh, that cut through everything. Nobody should be able to talk after this, which is that somebody's like, well, I think this. Well, I think this. And another person in the middle of it who wasn't taking one side or the other said, yes, I understand you think that. I understand you think that. But the truth exists. So it doesn't really matter what you two think. The truth exists. So you could say the sky's purple all day long. The truth exists. It's not. And so the only thing...
That's, what's his name? The great, the head of the Hayden Planetarium, who does all the podcasting.
Yeah?
But his name is escaping me. Tyson. You know what I'm talking about.
The Hayden Planetarium?
The Hayden Planetarium. Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Neil deGrasse Tyson
said that, Nate, science
it doesn't give a shit what you think.
Yeah, whether you believe it or not. Science is whether you believe it or not.
Yeah. And so to encapsulate the sharpness of the parody of that, of Don't Look Up, 3 words that then politicians start telling people, whatever you do, don't look at the evidence. Don't Look Up is just, it's one of the great political satires. That's the word I'm looking for. Don't Look Up, as a satire of political thought, political conversation, political manipulation. Don't look up. Right? Whatever you do, don't look up. And then the politicians are getting people to chant that. Don't look up, don't look up, don't look up. And it's like, wow, that's extremely clever. That's hard to do, to get in 3 words all the satire, everything to encapsulate it. I was very impressed at that when Don't Look Up became the major sketch of the last act of politicians saying, whatever you do, don't look up. And then people embracing that message. Yes, ignorance. We shall not learn. We shall not learn. Now, you say it like that. That's just doesn't even, that's not satire. That's too on the nose. But Don't Look Up as satire. It snuck in there, and nobody even, criticized that as a satire portion of it. But that's good satire.
I always give points to Adam McKay for swinging for the fences. I mean, I think we both know when we were watching.
Yeah, there's ice and snowballs. I seen a snowball. There can't be no global war. Look, there's ice!
I think when we watched Adam McKay, we knew what his wheelhouse was, and he's in it now. He was great with Anchorman and Talladega Nights and Step Brothers and what have you, but this is what he was leading up to. This is what he wanted to do, and sure enough, his first foray into it, he won the Oscar with The Big Short, and then Vice, and now this. These movies he makes are so alive. They're edited and shot within an inch of their life, and so the pace and the content is blistering. It's great.
Yeah.
It's a little all over the map, this one, but when it bullseyes its target, man, it's powerful. That's just tonally it's all over, because Jonah Hill's clearly in like some different movie where he's playing the Ivanka, just doing jokey gags.
Right.
But then when you get to like, you always talked about Religulous as having a great closing statement, and I like that term. So this movie has closing statements in Leo's monologue when he appears on the talk show, the daytime talk show, and he just can't get over his frustration in the world of politics and style over substance that the media and the dumbasses on the globe are subjugating scientists. He's speaking for all scientists in the face of climate change, and he's so frustrated that it just I damn near cried during that moment. It was so powerful.
Yeah.
And the final scene as well, when they bring the simplicity of their life down to the last moments on Earth, fantastic.
Yeah.
And
then Doctor Strange loves its way out of the movie.
Yes. Yeah. It is a great cast. You got Leo, who is obviously on board with the climate change allegory, so he delivers 100% here. Lawrence is no slouch. Rob Morgan comes in. He's good in everything. Tyler Perry, we talked about him. I think that I like him in everything he's in, but I can't bring myself to watch a Medea movie. So I liked him as well. And Mark Rylance. Yeah, I do. You told me that. And Mark Rylance is fun as the tech giant who has no interpersonal skills. So all those are on. Yeah.
Now, how did those two fall out?
I don't know. Something about cannibalism.
Oh, something about cannibalism. I heard he got pulled over for drunk driving. I can't remember. We just don't like him anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, highly recommend that. That was in the list there for one of my favorite films of the year until I saw Coda. Again, Coda's number one.
I got to see this Coda.
All right, what else is on the list? You want to talk about
Santa Jaws?
Santa Jaws? Can we? I don't know. Did you want media to back that up? This is something you saw.
I have the trailer
holidays. Here. It was so long ago.
I know.
I've been intrigued by the title ever since.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It is a title that somebody decided to make a movie about. But, I mean... So I was home for Christmas. We're choosing our Christmas lineup, and every year we want to get some new ones. Of course, we want to watch Elf. Of course, we want to watch Christmas Vacation, all that sort of stuff. But we're like, we always want to add new ones, and will this become a new tradition? And then when we watch the following year, it's a big production over at my parents' house. We have got Christmas movies on all day long, going. So we were just flipping through, what else is there? And my mom's just like, Santa Jaws. That's it. Let's watch that. And I'm like, you just gotta love the title, first of all. This movie was shot for about $20,000, and when I say that, I'm sure it cost a couple $100,000, but it's just got that economy of shooting, an economy of location, and they put all their money into the effects. But it's very clever. It's not well acted. Everybody's doing their sort of definitely super low budget acting. But when the Santa Claus hat, so the kid draws Santa Jaws, right? Which is probably how the guy that created the movie did it. He drew it and he's like, oh my God, I want to make a movie about this. But the Santa Jaws comes to life. But it is a shark that is attacking this, inlet of this town next to the house. The 4 locations are all right there. But, and then it has tons of fun with it. It has, some girl that's doing Instagram and her thing. And then, it's introducing all the people. But as the shark goes along, a Santa hat ends up on the fin. And so every time the fin's going through the water with that Santa hat, it's just funny. The movie knows it's being funny. It's taking it all very seriously. The actors may not have known how funny the movie was, but definitely the filmmaker did. And then it kills a guy with, who's trying to put up Christmas lights, and then the Christmas lights get wrapped around the shark. So as the shark's going through the water, it's like Christmas lights, a Santa hat, all this stuff. It's very entertaining. And look, it's 85 minutes. It gets in, gets out. It's like, you came here for the title. We're not going to give you a whole lot more than that, but we will give you a movie.
I thought of that before.
You're better off without him. Isn't that right, Santa Jaws?
Cody!
Right?
That is not a shark! That is Santa Jaws! I know her! I made her! That is her!
Yeah, they try and kill it with a giant candy cane, and it gets stuck, and then now it's got a horn, and it's killing people with the horn. I mean, it's just insane. Very enjoyable, actually. I mean, you're gonna watch nobody's going into this movie for the performance, but it delivers on the title Santa Jaws. I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna start working that into my daily conversation. It's like, hey, where are we lunching? We're gonna go over to the Coral Cafe. Isn't that right, Santa? Isn't that right, Santa Jaws? Isn't that right, Santa Jaws? I'm gonna start just incorporating that.
Like Chief or whatever. Hey, Santa Jaws, let's get out of here.
Isn't that right, Santa Jaws? I would love also if YouTube busts us because of that, showing that.
That would be the fun
one. We get by with the Moonfall and Jackass and Death on the Nile clips, and then that's hey,
oh, guys, come on, enough.
It's a strike. It's a copyright strike.
It's American treasure, Santa Jaws.
Yeah.
But I'd say I'd give it a
VHS.
Yeah.
Well, I'll hold off on talking about the Kingsman, but because you got to see it. So
okay, is it still in theaters? If it is, I'm going this week. I may have missed. I mean, it just saddens me if I missed West Side Story, which I may have, and if I missed the Kingsman. But I'll look it up and I'll try and make it out to see it because I just really
maybe you try the Regent or the Academy as well.
Yeah,
the second run, maybe they got it.
All right,
but what's it called? The six, the Valley Plaza 6.
Oh yeah, the Valley.
No, that's dead. Sorry, that's
dead. I was going to say I don't think that one's open
Academy,
anymore.
The Regent Academy in Pasadena, they're still showing second run stuff. So
yeah, you know what? Did all the second run movie theaters close?
Those are the only two I knew, really. Yeah. But what's interesting is that I would shout out to the Kingsman like I shouted out to Ghostbusters Afterlife because that movie hung around in the top 10 for a long time. It just wasn't making a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's been around for weeks and weeks and weeks too, but it tapped out at like 40-some million, and whereas Ghostbusters Afterlife is pushing towards 200.
Wow. That's really 200 million. That's what it's gotten up to.
I think so. Man, now I'm sitting there wondering about my facts. I wonder if there's an internet where I can find out all the information I need to know.
Well, and I got to tell you, I watched it with my roommate. I told you this like 2 weeks ago or whatever, and nothing about it. When Paul Rudd shows up, she was like, "Oh, he's in this?" And I'm like, "Oh, you got some surprises coming." And then like 3 days later, she's like, "Can we watch that again?" I'm like, "Yeah, I watched that movie over and over." So I've seen it like 4 times now. But I think a lot of people are doing that. They're like, "Oh yeah, Ghostbusters. I wasn't that happy with the last one." And I only kind of, some younger people too are like, "Oh, I only kind of know the first one. I haven't seen the first one in a while, but go see this." And it's just a solid, good movie, and it's got all the feels of your Ghostbusters fan.
It's at worldwide 196 million, so it's on the verge of 200.
Wow!
So hopefully,
that's sequel.
It'll get there, but yeah, and then they haven't even counted like VOD and disc sales. So that would be nice if it gets up there and we get a sequel. And this is also an important point to watch The Kingsman, then The King's Daughter, that long-lost Pierce Brosnan movie that came out hardly last week. But the point is, it's good to see The King's Speech become a trilogy.
That's true. That's true.
Major move!
What else to talk about? I have to use the bathroom, so let's make this quick.
All right, so do we want to save the Sam Raimi exhibit for next week?
Oh, no, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Then we'll be done.
Yeah, so we went to go see, this is cool. This is the advantages of knowing Paul. And if you don't know Paul, I highly suggest you get to know him. Especially if you like movies, because you find out about all kinds of totally random stuff that I'm not putting my nose to my ear to the sidewalk to hear what's going on with movies. But Paul just has a sixth sense. That's why his middle name is Movies Preston. Did you know that? Paul Movies Preston. This is one of those things at this little store over in Burbank on just this glorious little strip with 3 Halloween stores and this little shop that I went to years ago, which was a little tiny shop called the Bearded Lady, blew up, which it should have. It was such a clever little store, and now they have a second storefront that they have exhibits in. And now
it's solely called the Mystic Museum.
Oh, the Mystic Museum, right. The Bearded Lady at the Mystic Museum. And they did a full Evil Dead exhibit, and it was awesome. I have video here that I pulled. Paul, you got some photos too. And a lot of this stuff was from the original collection. I'm repeating everything that I was told there and Paul told me. So, Paul, you could have introduced this segment.
Maybe you play video and I'll run to the bathroom.
Okay. Yeah, it's about 4 minutes, Paul. So here is some video I took of the display, and this is just, they really just did a great job with this whole setup here, and then we'll talk about everything after coming out of the break here.
This could be a sentence that a month ago would sound
it's the wrong clip again. Hold on, I got the exhibit video here somewhere.
McPherson.
Where is the exhibit video? Oh, here it is. Okay, here it is.
Super Bowl.
Truly dead. They may be recalled to active life-living incantations presented in this book. It is through recitation.
Yeah, so they had the full cabin set up here, where you could look through the Necronomicon. It's got the Hills Have Eyes poster. And I want a room in my house that looks like this, where I could just go in. It's where I do my bills. And they had a lot of art. Look at that living room. I mean, I just want that little living room. And it's just treats galore. Look at that. The real chainsaw. Come on! The real chainsaw! Okay, and so they had this thing where you got a code. You went around and solved the mystery. Paul's entering the code right now to open the door. Here. Not much else. But I did love the, if you saw there in that opening shot of Paul trying to open the door, they had the porch swing, a little tiny mini porch swing. And I snuck behind the porch swing and shot that so it looked like a full frame, like when you're entering the cabin. But when Paul opened the door, or when anybody opened the door, they found the code and all these clues around there. It would swing, which is like such a tiny, tiny reference to Evil Dead. But I'm like, I just loved it. So I snuck the camera down there when Paul was entering the code, so that it would be like full frame and look like the real shot from Evil Dead. But the whole experience thing. How was your pee, Paul? How was your pee?
Outstanding.
And there was much rejoicing.
My voice was shit top of show, so I just started drinking water, and yeah. Unprofessional, Paul Preston. Unprofessional.
But we have some great photos here too that we took.
Did you share the video?
Yeah, shared the video and showed that you had found the code to get into the cabin or whatever.
Oh yeah, I'd like to see that.
I did the ramp. We'll watch it after the after the thing here. But boy, they had a lot of great stuff. The real props from the Sam Raimi collection. I love this. The real toasters and the real pricing gun. I mean, that's like, I love that sort of prop stuff. And I believe this is the release date of 10/15/1981. I think that's the release date of Evil Dead, right?
Let me check internet.
Yeah. So yeah, the actual pricing gun, the actual S-Mart, the real screen used tape, reel to reel. Now this, and I'm really obsessed with this because Evil Dead, for anybody who doesn't know, was they shot a 10-minute short, which you could buy at Comic-Cons, and I own a copy of somewhere. But Within the Woods was the title of that, and here they are, for showings of Within the Woods and Book of the Dead when it was called that. We all know this guy, of course. Some of this stuff was like made by fans or whatever. I don't know if that's a real. They did have the real mask in there as well. They had Ted Raimi's helmet. Now I gotta go back and watch Army of Darkness. See which one Ted Raimi is, because obviously he's under the helmet, and but it's at least he's got a yellow sash there. Very famous prop here. Linda's necklace.
I love the guy in full makeup just reading Fangoria.
Oh yes.
And that tons of behind the scenes photos.
Yeah, and that was the thing too. Fangoria, for anybody who read, people would do that and send in photos of them reading Fangoria, and then that would make it into Fangoria. So that shot I feel like I've seen in my actual issue of Fangoria about Evil Dead 2.
Yeah, and that reminded me, I think, when I saw that, that there are behind-the-scenes photos of the making of Halloween, at a place called Sugarmint. It's an art gallery right behind the Michael Myers house in South Pasadena. So if you go visit that, it's always a good add-on to just go behind Michael Myers house to Sugarmint. They have tons of horror-related art, and it's always updated for whatever's the newest, latest. Right now, there's a whole bunch of Scream stuff in their main hall, but then pay $10, go behind, you can see a whole display on Halloween with tons of behind-the-scenes photos as well.
I did not know
that'll
that,
be the next
'cause
thing.
I've been
I'll
there.
report back with that.
Yeah. Paul, you guys, Paul, you should do a tour or something. It'd be good.
I should. Yeah. Oh, man, we're so close. Website's almost there.
Here we go. The screen used Linda Severed Head. And do you know this reference, Paul?
Yes, when he was it was in the house when he was losing his arm, when he was cutting his arm off.
Yeah, he puts the bucket on top of the hand and then puts this on
Puts
top
that
of
on top of the bucket.
I thought that was a great reference. And boy, there's the Ash outfit. My goodness, that's just it was very exciting. Very exciting.
Yeah. This was, and they had fun photo ops like this one where you could just, and I have my corgi mask. It's real frightening. And like you said, there was artwork. There's a lot of fan art. A lot of it was sold too. I think, the middle one up top, I think it says sold out in tiny print next to it. So, yeah, they had artists who just were inspired by Evil Dead, made some art, and then lo and behold, they got some sales out of it.
Yeah.
Did you show this yet? The chainsaw that's used in the film.
Yeah, it was in the video, but boy, what a legend. Yeah, that's a better photo of it for sure. Boy, what just so legendary.
And and you showed this area too where you could have a photo op read the Book of the Dead. Just don't read it out loud.
Yeah, I just want a room in my house that looks like that, where I do my bills or whatever. It just would be so great.
There is, I can make that happen. He'll never join me, but there are tons of locations for La La Land, as you can imagine, on my tour. And I'll promote all that next week because the website's about to go live. And yeah, definitely want to talk about that. So that's it. But unfortunately, you can't go and see that because it was the last day of it. And we squeezed in at the buzzer to check it out.
Yeah, that was amazing that we happened to get that in, because you told me about that a few weeks ago, and I didn't know it was ending this soon. This is the first I've heard of it. But amazingly, we were together yesterday, and you're like, hey, we're not too far from that thing. You want to go see it? Yeah. And when I got there, I was like, oh, this is the last day that I could see.
Next time we'll have to walk down the street and go to Slashback Video, which is an art installation they've built for photo ops and other weird stuff. That is an old 1980s horror video store. And you can even buy videos there as well on VHS. So that whole experience will have to have some other time. And that includes also, I think for an extra price, but there's also in there a seance room that is working, and they had one the other day. I don't know. I don't know if it's a whole show or what they do, but yeah, the Mystic Museum does not disappoint with their nonsense. And when it's about movies, we're there. So, what else do we have? Thanks to Steve Schultz. Steve Schultz writes a lot of jokes for our show every week. He's always sending them to me, and when I can incorporate them, I do. You can follow us on Twitter at The Movie Guys everywhere. That's not just Twitter. It's Instagram, Facebook, etc. And you can find all of our shows and everything on iTunes and Amazon and Pandora and you name it, where there are audio podcasts. You can find us, and of course, YouTube and Vimeo for everything video.
I've heard that.
I heard it.
And you can get the Ford Fiesta. And it's been a couple of weeks since we gave a big plug to the Ford Fiesta, but we just put out our More American Graffiti episode with William Bibiani, working on polishing up the Apocalypse Now clip. If you watched that late night with Gucci and Kaiser show from last Friday, we played some clips of Kaiser in studio drunkenly talking and pontificating about Apocalypse Now, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. It's going to be way fun.
But the one thing I wanted to share in terms of stuff I found that is Harrison Ford related, when I was a kid, I used to take movie ads. My brother did this actually, and I picked it up where he left off. I'd clip them out of the paper and just keep them in a box, because I thought, I think now movie artwork is really, really cool.
Yeah.
And it's to me timeless artwork too, because these movies are timeless. And so I just want to share some of that with you now, because this was a long time ago, I need to do it again. I stopped doing that a while ago because the whole newspaper art of movie advertising is done. Now they're just listings, and half the time it's online anyway.
Yeah.
But for a while there, when I recorded, I had a bunch of Harrison Ford movies. Like, how about this? Original, this is actually a what would you call it? A reissue
Re-release?
of Star Wars? A re-release of Star Wars at the Showcase Cinema in Oneonta, New York.
Wow.
Right there next to Saturday Night Fever and Return from Witch Mountain.
How did you have that preserved? That does not look yellowed at all.
Well, no, these are photocopies.
Oh, photocopied.
I could go into my box and show these to you as well, but it's just easier to show them here.
Right.
Oh yeah, and look at this, based on our podcast.
Wow.
Two
God,
podcasts
it was just
ago.
Such an exciting time. Star Wars
Briscoe
being
Kid
released.
playing at the Oneonta Theater. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'd never even heard about the Frisco Kid till like 10, 15 years ago. And I was shocked because it came out right when I was into Harrison Ford.
I'll tell you,
I had to be told by my parents that
that's how I heard about a lot of these movies.
Yeah.
Because of collecting these and reading the credits down at the bottom.
Yeah.
I knew who was behind Temple of Doom because of all the credits in the bottom there.
Yeah.
And look at that artwork. I mean, that was just great too. You open up the paper and see that artwork. Yeah, it's like I'm going to definitely go to that movie.
I lived for it. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to do with this stuff now.
I will have to find a photo sometime. So I did the same thing, Paul, where I would clip out, because I just loved, all these ads, and I loved movies. And look at you clipping out Avenging Angel.
Why not?
In 1983.
I'm going to do Return of the Jedi. I'm going to do Missing in Action 2 and Avenging Angel.
Wow, okay.
Equal time, man. Equal time for pieces of shit.
And then I saw a movie that influenced me. Oh, look at that. Got Code of Silence, and it's so great. There was a movie about a serial killer who was obsessed with this one media person, and the opening of the movie, boy, if anybody could tell me what movie this is I feel like Steve Guttenberg was in it, like that Secret Window movie was Guttenberg. I don't know if that's it. We might have rented it that night, but anyway, it just begins this pan, and he's got all over his walls is just every article perfectly production designed of anything this woman appeared in. He had taped to his walls, and it just keeps going and going and going. And that gave me the idea, because I had this big stack of just newspaper things that I was just keeping. And at that point, I was like really into David Letterman. So any photo of Letterman I'd pull, and cable guide, all the cable guides, I would keep all those, with the big photos of like Indiana Jones and stuff like that. And one day I just decided to start putting those on my wall and start like interlocking them. If there's this much space, and I get a photo of from something that would go there. And I gradually filled almost a wall and a half before we moved. And I've got this great photo of just all those clips, but I just put them all on the walls, like influenced by a serial killer movie. I'm like, nice. RoboCop, my love.
Yeah, I still have the box of all my clippings, and I bet you they're yellowed. Yeah, to your point. I wonder if they're even fun to look at anymore. But once I photocopied them, then they kind of stay here.
Yeah.
Frantic.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, maybe get rid of the other ones. I don't know. you got them.
Yeah,
it's a good way to preserve them.
This is what my girlfriend would say, as the minimalist that she is. Working girl.
Working girl.
VHS.
Yeah, Last Crusade, right there next to Carnal Knowledge. There's a double feature.
Oh, Carnal Knowledge. What is that? Or these aren't obviously from the same.
No,
week,
they got a little mixed up in time periods.
That
would have been one my brother clipped out, and then. But check this out, right? The current latest issue of the the hell did it go? There it is.
Oh, Dune. Oh, more. Oh, what?
Yeah, it played.
You pulled
proof that it was a thing. That's how I knew what it was, because it played in Oneonta.
Wow. Okay, so you would put that in there because you knew Harrison Ford was in it, or just that American Graffiti?
Every movie.
Oh, every movie.
Yeah, I'm just showing you the Harrison Ford ones.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and then last thing I'll show you real quick. Before I could have access to anything interesting in Hollywood, when I was a small kid in upstate New York, I would get Hollywood reporters from the guy who owned the movie theater after he had them, and then I cut out all sorts of stuff. Like I cut out old, movie advertisements, and
that was rare.
Promotional pics for Oscars and stuff. I mean, just you get to see some great photography, like in this Full Metal Jacket, for your consideration, Matthew Modine.
Wow.
But I had a few that are Ford centric. Frantic had a big weekend, so they promoted it.
Huh.
Could have been bigger, but it was Frantic.
Isn't it amazing? You get that same you get the buzz from the newspaper, but of course you're living not in a major metropolitan area. But the variety, like the treatment of movies for Variety, there was no premiere yet.
Yeah, Mosquito Coast, best director Peter Weir.
Wow, look at that!
Didn't happen, but
can't wait to get to that movie. It's very exciting in the Ford Fiesta.
Yeah, that we're getting to the big 80s.
Yeah, we are.
Ford's winning streak. So
big time.
All right. Well, that is all. Thanks again. Tune in next week. More nonsense. I may not be here. Adam will figure out something to do. I'll be up in the woods again, like I do.
A cabin in the woods.
Yeah, and I think
who will be driving that show?
Who is driving? Oh my God, Bear's driving. How can that be?
I guess I will be.
That's all the time we've got for this week on World of the Psychic. Next week, though, gimme Ira. Hairless pets. Weird. Until then, this is Peter Vickman saying...